Botswana's president has made the West days of dominance in Africa end. And what's new? Now, Botswana's recent decision to assert control over its diamond industry signals the dawn of a new era for Africa. A continent often exploited for its natural wealth, yet rarely benefiting from it. But how did Boko do that? In a global economy historically skewed against African nations, Botswana's move is more than just a financial strategy. It is an emblem of a continent on the rise, claiming its rightful place as a self-sufficient and sovereign player. This act of taking control of its resources is both a statement of African empowerment and an urgent call for all African nations to embrace their inherent power. For generations, Africa's resources have been mined, shipped, and sold, fueling economies far from its shores. While diamonds, oil, gold, and other natural assets brought immense wealth to other nations, they often left African communities impoverished and dependent. Yet today, Botswana's bold step signals a shift. It represents an awakening, a renaissance for African nations ready to shake off the remnants of colonialism and exploitation. Botswana's diamonds are no longer just minerals to be extracted. They are the symbols of a continent reclaiming its future. In the spirit of an African proverb, the child who is not embraced by the village will burn it down to feel its warmth. African nations are no longer waiting for external forces to recognize their value. They are declaring it themselves. By holding on to its resources, Botswana is taking a firm stand, not just for itself, but for all African countries that have long been relegated to the periphery of global wealth creation. This move is about more than diamonds. It's about African sovereignty, self-determination, and the courage to rewrite the narrative. Africa's resources have powered industries around the globe, yet Africa itself has remained dependent. Now, Botswana's step is a call to action for African nations to control their wealth, reject exploitation, and build futures grounded in pride and ownership. The energy rippling from Botswana's decision signals that Africa is ready to reclaim not just its resources, but its destiny. A beacon of hope for an entire continent that has waited too long to reap the fruits of its labor. So, why did the perspective toward diamonds change? Botswana's diamonds are more than just precious stones. They are the gems of Africa, symbols of the continent's wealth and untapped potential. Botswana has a unique and inspiring story within the diamond industry, having transformed itself from one of the world's poorest nations to a diamond giant, thanks to its rich mineral reserves. But the journey of Botswana's diamonds is also a journey of African labor, ingenuity, and resilience. Since diamonds were first discovered in the 1960s, Botswana has developed a reputation as a stable, forward-looking nation that manages its resources wisely. The government forged partnerships that allowed it to prosper as one of the world's top diamond producers. However, this wealth was often concentrated in the hands of foreign corporations, with limited benefits, trickling down to the communities most affected by mining. For too long, Botswana's diamonds sparkled brightly on the world stage while their value eluded the very people who mined them. Yet Botswana's diamonds are part of a larger story, an African story. These stones have witnessed the tireless efforts of African miners, engineers, and local workers who toiled to bring them from the earth. Botswana's decision to take control of its diamond industry honors generations of labor that went unrecognized and undercompensated. This act reclaims the narrative and reminds the world that these diamonds belong to Africa, and their wealth should benefit Africans. Now, Botswana is poised to transform its diamond wealth into a legacy that uplifts its people and strengthens its communities. By harnessing the power of its diamonds, Botswana is setting a precedent for other African nations to follow. It is a testament to what African nations can achieve when they prioritize local control and community benefit over foreign profit. Botswana's diamonds are no longer just stones. They are symbols of African pride, wealth, and the potential for a brighter, self-determined future. But why did this idea only come to Boko's mind? Here's a reminder to please like and share the video and subscribe to our channel to watch more videos on Black culture, history, civilization, and identity. Let's continue now. President Duma Boko is more than a political figure. He is a visionary leader, inspiring a continent that has long endured the shadows of foreign influence. His stance on Botswana's diamond industry is a testament to his commitment to his people and his vision of a self-sufficient Africa. Under his leadership, Botswana's decision to reclaim control of its diamonds sends a powerful message. Africa will no longer be sidelined in decisions about its resources. Boko's decision is not just a matter of business. It's a matter of pride, resilience, and self-respect. For too long, Africa's resources have been controlled by multinational corporations and foreign powers, often with little regard for local needs. By asserting Botswana's right to its diamonds, Boko is challenging the structures that have exploited Africa for generations. This move is a rallying call for other African leaders to follow suit and demand fair treatment for their people. Under Boko's vision, Botswana's diamonds will no longer leave the country only to enrich foreign economies. Instead, they will serve as the foundation for Botswana's development. This shift is about reclaiming dignity, about showing that African nations can and should manage their wealth. Boko believes that Africa's future lies in the hands of Africans, and he is committed to building a Botswana where the profits from its resources go back into the communities that make them possible. As Boko has said, our resources are our legacy, and they belong to our children and grandchildren. We are here to secure that future. His vision is a reminder that Africa's strength lies not just in its natural wealth, but in the leadership and resilience of its people. Boko's decision is a testament to his belief that Africa's future will be written by Africans, for Africans. Now the question is, how would this impact Botswana? Botswana's diamond industry holds the potential to transform the nation, and increased profits from diamond sales mean a real, lasting impact on its people. By channeling these funds into essential infrastructure, Botswana can lay the groundwork for a legacy of empowerment and prosperity that will shape future generations. The country's diamond wealth is now poised to fund not just industries, but the very fabric of society, from healthcare and education to job creation and social development. Imagine a Botswana where hospitals, schools, and roads are funded by the country's diamond wealth. This vision represents a monumental shift from dependency to self-sufficiency, as Botswana transforms its diamond profits into tangible improvements for its people. Access to healthcare, quality education, and reliable infrastructure are no longer distant dreams, but achievable goals that Botswana's diamond industry can help bring to life. This transformation goes beyond mere financial gain. It is about creating opportunities for the next generation of Botswana's citizens. With diamond funding education, Botswana's youth will have access to better resources, skilled teachers, and programs that prepare them for a range of careers. By investing in health and education, Botswana is not only securing a better life for its people, but ensuring that its wealth is used to uplift the community as a whole. Botswana's decision to retain control over its diamonds shows that when wealth is locally managed, it can create lasting, meaningful change. This isn't just an economic strategy. It's a powerful statement about the role of African-controlled wealth in shaping African futures. Botswana's diamonds are becoming a legacy of opportunity and resilience, a reminder that Africa's resources belong to its people and can be used to build a brighter future. While we are watching this case alone, let's figure out its broader significance. Botswana's assertion of control over its diamond industry is not an isolated case. It's part of a larger, unstoppable wave of African nations rising to claim ownership of their resources and destinies. Across the continent, countries are awakening to the power of self-sufficiency, understanding that collective action and unity can amplify their voices on the global stage. The African resource ownership movement is a transformative shift in mindset, where Africa's wealth no longer serves foreign interests but is channeled back into African hands. For years, Africa's abundant natural resources were extracted and controlled by foreign entities, generating billions of dollars in revenue that rarely benefited the people whose lands and labor made it possible. However, leaders like President Duma Boko of Botswana and his peers in countries such as Ghana, Namibia, and the Democratic Republic of Congo are rewriting this narrative. They understand that when African nations unite to control and protect their resources. They can break free from the cycles of exploitation and economic dependency. This movement is about more than just economics. It's about self-respect, dignity, and the assertion of Africa's right to determine its future. African countries are increasingly aware that by standing together, they can negotiate fair terms with international corporations, ensuring that the wealth generated from their land benefits their citizens. This new chapter in African history is a testament to the power of unity, where countries no longer compete against each other, but collaborate to achieve mutual prosperity. Consider the example of Ghana, which has taken significant steps to protect its cocoa industry from exploitation by foreign markets. Ghana's government has imposed measures to ensure that cocoa farmers receive fair wages, allowing profits to circulate within local economies rather than flow out of the country. Similarly, Namibia has made strides to control its uranium resources, demanding that foreign companies operating in the country comply with local laws and invest in communities. These actions are part of a larger trend, where African nations are saying no more to exploitation and yes to sovereignty and pride. The resource ownership movement is a rallying call that echoes across the continent, reminding African nations of their strength in numbers. Leaders and citizens alike are realizing the potential for Africa to redefine its place in the world through collective action. This isn't just about individual countries taking control. It's a united front, a shared vision of an Africa that no longer relies on the approval or assistance of foreign powers. The message is clear. Africa is not a resource-rich continent waiting to be mined. It is a land of powerful, independent nations ready to shape their destinies. When African countries collaborate to protect and manage their resources, they become a formidable force on the world stage. This movement isn't just about taking control of assets. It's about taking control of Africa's narrative. It's about the power of African unity, where countries learn from one another, support each other, and stand strong in the face of global pressures. As more nations join this resource ownership movement, Africa is proving that it can, and will, succeed on its terms. Now, if the whole of Africa successfully does this, what impact will it have in years? The contrast between foreign and African ownership of resources is stark, and Botswana's decision to take control of its diamonds highlights the benefits of self-reliance. For centuries, Africa's wealth has been siphoned away by foreign corporations and colonial powers, leaving the continent with a legacy of environmental degradation, economic dependency, and communities often left worse off than before. When foreign companies hold the reins, they prioritize profit over people, leading to exploitation and depletion of resources without regard for the impact on local communities. Foreign ownership has created cycles where African nations remain dependent on aid and external funding, perpetuating a system where true economic independence is nearly impossible to achieve. For example, foreign mining corporations have long held licenses to extract precious resources like gold, diamonds, and oil, often under terms that offer little financial benefit to African countries. These arrangements have historically left local populations impoverished, as profits are exported while local economies see few improvements. In contrast, African ownership of resources brings wealth directly to the people. When Botswana took control of its diamonds, it retained the revenue within its borders, ensuring that profits would be invested in education, healthcare, and infrastructure that benefit all citizens. Locally controlled industries create jobs, provide economic stability, and allow governments to prioritize sustainable practices that consider the well-being of the environment and local communities. African ownership fosters self-reliance, a critical component of economic independence. When African nations control their resources, they are free to make decisions that reflect the values and needs of their people. Self-reliance means that African economies are no longer vulnerable to the whims of global markets or dependent on the goodwill of foreign investors. Instead, African nations have the freedom to create and sustain wealth on their terms. Take, for instance, the example of Nigeria's oil industry. For decades, multinational corporations dominated Nigeria's oil production, with revenues benefiting corporate shareholders abroad. In recent years, however, Nigeria has taken steps to increase local ownership and participation in its oil industry. creating opportunities for Nigerian companies and reducing the country's reliance on foreign firms. This shift is part of a broader movement in which African nations are reasserting control over their industries and prioritizing local involvement and ownership. Botswana's decision to manage its diamond resources independently is a powerful example of how African ownership can transform industries and empower communities. With self-reliance, African nations can make long-term investments in their people, environments, and economies, creating a sustainable model for growth that is resilient to external pressures. African ownership of resources is not just about profit, it's about creating a future where Africa's wealth benefits its people, its environment, and its progress toward true independence. With Botswana's example lighting the way, Africa's future is rich with potential. Imagine an Africa where resource ownership is the norm, not the exception. A continent that controls its wealth, sets its terms, and negotiates with the world on equal footing. The African resource ownership movement is reshaping Africa's place in global economics, positioning it as a powerhouse of potential, a leader in sustainable development, and a beacon of cultural strength. African-led industries have the power to influence global markets, and as more countries follow Botswana's lead, Africa's economic landscape will transform. When African nations hold the reins, they can prioritize ethical practices, environmental conservation, and community benefit, creating industries that are both profitable and socially responsible. This model stands in stark contrast to the practices of foreign corporations, which have often prioritized short-term profits at the expense of people and the planet. Botswana's decision to control its diamond wealth has implications that extend far beyond its borders. As Africa's industries grow under African leadership, global partnerships will take on a new character, one defined by mutual respect and equality. No longer dependent on foreign aid or subject to exploitative contracts, African nations will be able to negotiate from a place of strength, shaping partnerships that benefit both sides and foster long-term collaboration. The vision for an independent, self-sustaining Africa is within reach, and Botswana's example offers a blueprint. African nations have the resources, the talent, and the resolve to build industries that serve their people and communities. By embracing this path, Africa can become a global leader in sectors ranging from sustainable agriculture to renewable energy, using its resources to create a prosperous, resilient future. As Botswana and other African nations reclaim their wealth, they pave the way for an Africa that leads as an equal on the world stage. This future is not a distant dream. It is a growing reality, a testament to the strength and vision of African leaders and citizens alike. When African countries hold on to their resources, they not only secure their economic independence, but also take ownership of their narratives, showing the world that Africa's time has come. So, to sum this up, Botswana's journey toward diamond independence is more than a business decision. It is a symbol of Africa's reawakening. For too long, the continent's wealth has been controlled by others, and its people are marginalized in our decisions about their resources. But today, as Botswana takes control of its diamonds, it sends a message to the world. Africa's riches belong to its people, and its future will be written by its own hands. This movement is about more than economic gain. It is about identity, pride, and the recognition that Africa's potential is limitless. When African nations like Botswana reclaim their resources, they are reclaiming their narratives, rejecting the exploitation that defined the past, and embracing a vision of sovereignty and empowerment. An African proverb says, "The sun will shine on those who stand before it, shines on those who kneel under them." Africa is rising, standing tall, and reclaiming its place in the world. Botswana's story is a call to action, a reminder to all African nations of the power that lies within them. This is Africa's time to shine, not as a continent defined by its struggles, but as one defined by its strength, unity, and boundless potential. Africa's future is in African hands. Let Botswana's decision inspire a new generation to take pride in their heritage, seize control of their wealth, and build a future where Africa leads with dignity, pride, and an unwavering commitment to its people. Do you think This change will make the West weak? What are your thoughts about them? Let us know in the comment section. Will they try for Botswana to continue mining? Do you want to watch more videos like this one? If so, subscribe to our channel and press the bell icon next to it. We have decided to bring videos on something nobody talks about: the Black culture, civilization, history, and evidence about how glorious Blacks have been. Thanks for watching, and until the next video, stay tuned.